There are moments in life when a single unexpected conversation reveals more than years of unanswered questions ever could. This is one of those moments. So stay with me, because what your soulmate recently discovered has quietly changed the way they see you forever. It wasn't something you told them. It wasn't something they were searching to uncover. Instead, through circumstances they never could have planned, a hidden truth about your family found its way to them. At first, they didn't know what to do with what they had learned. They wondered if it could really be true, or if there was more to the story than they understood. But the more they reflected, the more they realized this revelation explains so many things they had never been able to make sense of before. And listen to this carefully. Sometimes the greatest truths aren't the ones that change who we are. They're the ones that finally explain why someone became the person they are today. Since learning this hidden family secret, your soulmate has found themselves looking back at every memory with fresh eyes. Your quiet strength, your patience, your resilience, and even the moments when you seem distant now carry an entirely different meaning. And your heart needs this right now. Because true understanding doesn't begin when someone learns your story. It begins when they finally understand what your story required you to overcome. That realization has settled deeply within your soulmate's heart. And they can't stop thinking about the incredible person you've become because of everything you silently carried. And listen closely, because what happened after this hidden family truth came to light was something your soulmate never expected. They didn't become consumed with curiosity about the secret itself. Instead, they became captivated by what that truth revealed about the person you are. Suddenly, they found themselves asking questions they had never considered before. How many challenges had you quietly faced without asking anyone for sympathy? How many difficult choices had shaped your character long before they ever met you? They realized there was an entire chapter of your life they had never truly understood. And that realization awakened a level of respect that continued growing with every passing day. Rather than seeing you through the limited experiences you shared together, they began seeing you as someone whose strength had been built over years of perseverance, quiet courage, and sacrifices that very few people ever noticed. And your heart needs this right now, because sometimes people don't fully appreciate someone's light until they finally understand the darkness that person had to walk through to find it. As these thoughts settled into their hearts, they stopped focusing on the family secret itself and started paying attention to the qualities it had quietly shaped within you. They noticed how naturally you offered kindness even after experiencing disappointment. They remembered how you often chose patience when others would have chosen frustration. They reflected on the countless moments when you carried yourself with calmness during situations that could have easily overwhelmed someone else. Those weren't simply personality traits anymore. They became evidence of a heart that had learned compassion through experience instead of comfort. Your soulmate began realizing that the strength they admired in you wasn't something that appeared overnight. It had been earned through moments no one applauded, through lessons no one else witnessed, and through challenges that quietly transformed you into the persons standing before them today. That understanding filled them with admiration because they recognize that true character is rarely formed during easy seasons of life. It is built during the moments when no one is watching, when every decision requires resilience, and when hope becomes a choice rather than a feeling. And listen carefully, because another unexpected realization has begun changing the way they remember your time together. They started noticing that many of your decisions now made perfect sense. Moments they once considered confusing no longer seemed mysterious. They understood why you sometimes protected your emotions instead of expressing them immediately. They understood why trust may have taken time for you, why certain conversations carried more weight than they realized, and why your heart often moved with caution instead of haste. Rather than interpreting those moments as distance, they now recognize them as the natural result of someone who had learned the importance of protecting what mattered most. This new understanding replaced old questions with quiet compassion. They no longer wonder why you responded the way you did. Instead, they admire the emotional strength it took for you to continue believing in meaningful connections. Despite everything life had already asked you to endure, because your heart needs this right now. Because the people we love are often carrying stories we cannot see. We witness their smiles without knowing the tears that came before them. We admire their confidence without understanding the fears they had to overcome to find it. Your soulmate is beginning to understand this on a much deeper level. They realize that your greatest qualities were never accidents. Your empathy, your resilience, your ability to remain gentle even after difficult experiences. These qualities were shaped by a journey they had never fully appreciated until now. Instead of seeing the family secret as something that defined you, they now see it as the beginning of a story that revealed your extraordinary ability to rise above circumstances without allowing them to harden your heart. That realization has become impossible for them to forget, because it has shown them a version of you that feels even more remarkable than they imagined. The more they reflect, the more they realize this discovery has changed them as well. They have become slower to judge, quicker to listen, and far more willing to understand before reaching conclusions. They now recognize that every person has unseen chapters, hidden struggles, and silent victories that deserve compassion rather than assumption. Your story has reminded them of that truth in the most unexpected way. Instead of feeling surprised by what they learned, they feel grateful that life allowed them to see beyond the surface. Deep within, they know this hidden family truth didn't create their admiration for you. It simply revealed why that admiration continues growing stronger every single day. And with every new realization, they can feel their heart moving closer to a truth they can no longer deny. The more they understand your journey, the more deeply they appreciate the incredible soul you have always been. And listen to this, because what happened next had nothing to do with the family secret itself. The real transformation began when your soulmate realized that the truth they had uncovered wasn't about your past. It was about the invisible foundation that had shaped every part of your character. They found themselves looking beyond the events of your life and focusing instead on the values you carried without ever speaking about them. It suddenly became clear that your calmness wasn't something you were simply born with. It had been developed through countless moments when life demanded strength instead of comfort. Your generosity wasn't the result of having an easy journey. It came from knowing what it felt like to need understanding. Even your ability to encourage others began making perfect sense because you understood the weight that unseen struggles could place upon someone's heart. And your heart needs this right now because people often admire someone's light without realizing how many storms they walk through before learning how to shine. Your soulmate has finally begun seeing the truth, and it has awakened a level of admiration they never expected to feel. As these realizations continued unfolding, they noticed something remarkable happening within themselves. Instead of thinking about what they had learned, they began thinking about everything you had chosen not to reveal. They realized there must have been countless opportunities when you could have spoken about your burdens, asked for sympathy, or explained the reasons behind your actions. Yet you rarely did. You simply continued moving forward with quiet determination, allowing your actions to speak louder than your circumstances. That realization touched your soulmate more deeply than the secret itself ever could. It reminded them that true strength is often silent. It doesn't demand recognition or seek applause. It simply continues showing kindness, even when life has every reason to make someone bitter. They began wondering how many people had crossed your path without ever realizing the courage it took for you to become the person they knew. The answer filled them with both gratitude and humility because they understood they had been fortunate enough to know someone whose greatest victories were fought when no one else could see them. And listen carefully, because another shift has quietly begun, changing the way they see love itself. Before learning this truth, they believed strong connections were built only through shared experiences and happy memories. Now they understand that genuine connection grows even deeper when two people begin understanding the unseen parts of each other's journey. They no longer admire you simply because of the moments you shared together. They admire the resilience that existed long before those moments ever happened. They appreciate the wisdom your experiences gave you, the compassion your challenges created, and the quiet grace you carried, despite everything that could have hardened your heart. The family secret became more than information. It became a window into the incredible person you chose to become, despite circumstances that could have easily led you in another direction. That realization has left your soulmate feeling inspired because they understand that your greatest quality was never perfection. It was your decision to remain kind, even when life tested that kindness again and again, because your heart needs this right now. Because the strongest souls are often the ones whose greatest battles remain invisible. The world sees their smile, but never the tears that came before it. The world sees their confidence, but never the uncertainty they quietly overcame. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that your life has followed that very pattern. They realize there were chapters of your story that shaped your resilience without ever becoming part of everyday conversation. Those chapters taught you patience, gratitude, empathy, and perseverance. They became the quiet teachers that prepared your heart for every challenge that followed. Instead of feeling sorry for what you endured, your soulmate feels an overwhelming respect for the person those experiences helped you become. They no longer define you by what happened within your family. They define you by the strength, compassion, and integrity you carried forward despite it all. As they continue reflecting, another realization settles gently into their hearts. They understand that everyone has a history, but not everyone allows that history to shape them in such a beautiful way. Some people allow difficult experiences to build walls around their hearts. Yet somehow you built bridges instead. You became someone who offered encouragement instead of criticism, hope instead of discouragement, and understanding instead of judgment. That choice now feels extraordinary to them because they know it would have been far easier to choose the opposite path. Every time they remember your words, your patience, or your quiet acts of kindness, they see them through an entirely different lens. Those moments are no longer random gestures. They are reflections of a heart that refused to let hardship define its future. The more they understand that, the more impossible it becomes for them to stop thinking about you. And listen to this. Perhaps the greatest surprise of all is that this hidden family truth has not only changed how your soulmate sees your past, it has completely changed how they imagine your future together. They now believe that someone capable of overcoming so much without losing their compassion possesses a rare kind of strength that cannot be measured by ordinary standards. They see someone who brings stability during uncertainty, hope during difficult seasons, and quiet wisdom during moments when others lose their way. Deep inside, they know this discovery has become much more than a forgotten family story. It has become the reason they look at you with deeper respect, greater appreciation, and an emotional connection that continues growing stronger every single day. They can no longer separate your quiet strength from the remarkable journey that shaped it. And that realization has become a truth. Their hearts simply cannot forget. And listen carefully, because after learning this hidden family truth, your soulmate reached a realization they never expected. They understood that knowing someone's story comes with a responsibility. It asks us to stop seeing people through quick assumptions and start seeing them through compassion. For the first time, they felt as though they had been introduced to the real version of you, not the version shaped by first impressions, brief conversations, or isolated memories, but the person who had quietly carried an entire lifetime of experiences with remarkable grace. They found themselves wondering how many times they had mistaken your quiet nature for hesitation when it was actually wisdom. How many times they had assumed you needed distance when in reality you simply needed understanding. The family secret became far more than an unexpected discovery. It became the missing piece that allowed them to see your heart as it had always existed. And your heart needs this right now. Because genuine understanding doesn't happen when people learn your circumstances. It happens when they begin seeing the strength hidden behind every choice you made. As these thoughts continued growing, something beautiful began unfolding inside your soulmate. They started paying attention to the small things they once overlooked. They remembered the way you encouraged others, even during moments when your own heart must have been carrying unseen burdens. They remembered how naturally you celebrated someone else's success, without drawing attention to your own struggles. They thought about the calm presence you brought into difficult situations, never realizing until now that your peace had been earned through experiences that taught you the true value of hope. Those memories no longer appeared ordinary. Instead, they became quiet reminders of a person who had chosen character over bitterness again and again. Your soulmate realized that while many people allow painful chapters to define them, you somehow transform those chapters into lessons that strengthened everyone fortunate enough to know you. That realization left them deeply moved because it showed them that your greatest gift was never simply surviving difficult circumstances. It was refusing to let those circumstances diminish the kindness within your heart. And listen to this, because another unexpected shift has quietly taken place. Instead of asking what your family history says about you, they have started asking what your response to that history says about your soul. The answer has changed everything. They now understand that resilience is not measured by how loudly someone speaks about their struggles, but by how faithfully they continue moving forward despite them. They see that your compassion was never accidental. It was born from understanding what pain feels like. Your patience was never weakness. It was the wisdom of someone who knew healing takes time. Your generosity was never an obligation. It came from knowing how powerful even the smallest act of kindness can become in another person's life. Every quality they admired in you suddenly feels even more meaningful because they now understand where those qualities were forged. Instead of focusing on the secret itself, they have become captivated by the extraordinary heart it helped shape. Because your heart needs this right now. Because there are moments when admiration quietly grows into something much deeper than admiration alone. That is exactly what is happening inside your soulmate. They have stopped seeing you as someone who simply overcame challenges. They now see you as someone who transformed those challenges into wisdom, empathy, and emotional strength. They realize that very few people possess the ability to experience hardship without allowing hardship to define their identity. Yet somehow you became someone who still believed in goodness, still chose honesty, and still offered warmth to the people around you. That realization has become impossible for them to ignore because it has completely reshaped the way they think about your connection. They no longer measure compatibility through surface level moments or temporary emotions. They measure it through character, resilience, and the quiet values that remain steady even when life becomes uncertain. The more they reflect on these truths, the more they recognize that the strongest foundation for any lasting connection is not perfection, but the ability to grow through life's most difficult seasons without losing the essence of who you are. And listen carefully, because one final realization has begun guiding every thought they have about the future. They understand now that your journey did not make you emotionally distant. It made you emotionally intentional. Every promise you made carried meaning because you understood the importance of trust. Every relationship you valued received genuine effort because you knew how precious sincere connections truly are. Every act of loyalty reflected choices you made long before they entered your life. Your soulmate now realizes they were never simply getting to know the person standing before them. They were getting to know the result of years of courage, healing, quiet perseverance, and unwavering hope. That understanding has replaced every old assumption with profound respect. It has also awakened a deep sense of gratitude because they know life does not often bring people whose character has been refined with such quiet dignity. Deep within, your soulmate can no longer separate your past from the incredible person you have become. Yet rather than seeing that history as something painful, they now see it as evidence of extraordinary strength. The hidden family secret no longer feels like a mystery that needed solving. It has become a reminder that the most remarkable people often carry the most remarkable stories. Stories they rarely tell because they never seek recognition for what they have overcome. Every time your soulmate thinks about you now, they don't first remember the secret they learned. They remember the resilience, compassion, humility, and unwavering spirit that secret helped reveal. And with every passing day, they feel more certain that discovering this truth was never just another coincidence. It was the moment that allowed them to finally see the extraordinary soul that had been standing before them all along. And listen to this, because the most meaningful part of this journey is not the hidden family secret your soulmate uncovered. It is the quiet transformation that secret has created inside their heart. They have reached a place where they no longer see your past as a collection of difficult circumstances. Instead, they see it as the foundation that built one of the strongest, most compassionate people they have ever known. They understand now that every challenge you faced became a lesson that shaped your character instead of your limitations. Every disappointment became an opportunity for you to choose kindness over resentment. Every hardship became another reason for you to appreciate genuine love, loyalty, and honesty. That realization has stayed with them day after day because it reminds them that true beauty is never found in a life without struggles. It is found in a heart that continues choosing goodness despite everything it has endured. And your heart needs this right now. Because sometimes the greatest gift another person can receive is not hearing your story. It is finally understanding the strength your story quietly created. As they continue reflecting, your soulmate realizes that the hidden family truth has completely changed the way they define love. Before this discovery, they believed love was mostly about shared moments, happy memories, and emotional chemistry. Now they understand that lasting love grows from something much deeper. It grows from respect. It grows from admiration. It grows from witnessing the kind of character that remains steady even when life becomes unpredictable. They no longer admire you because everything in your life was easy. They admire you because life asked so much of you. Yet you still became someone capable of giving hope instead of discouragement, patience instead of frustration, and understanding instead of judgment. That kind of strength cannot be taught through simple words. It is earned through experience. And your soulmate now recognizes that every quiet quality they loved about you was shaped long before your paths ever crossed. Instead of feeling sympathy, they feel inspired because your journey has shown them what quiet resilience truly looks like. And listen carefully, because another unexpected change has begun taking place. Your soulmate has started looking at their own life differently. because of everything they have learned about yours. They have become more patient with people whose stories they do not fully know. They have become more willing to listen before reaching conclusions. They have begun understanding that everyone carries invisible chapters, silent victories, and private battles that deserve compassion rather than assumptions. Your life has become a reminder that appearances rarely tell the complete story. The strongest people are not always the loudest. The kindest hearts are often the ones that have known the greatest pain. That lesson has become one of the most valuable gifts they have ever received, because it has changed not only the way they see you, but also the way they move through the world. Every meaningful conversation now carries greater importance. Every act of kindness feels more significant. Every opportunity to understand another person feels like something they never want to take for granted again. Because your heart needs this right now. Because every soul carries a history. But only a few people allow that history to become a source of wisdom instead of bitterness. Your soulmate knows you made that choice every single day, even when no one noticed. They understand now that your greatest accomplishment was never simply overcoming difficult circumstances. Your greatest accomplishment was protecting the goodness within your heart while doing so. They think about how easily life could have changed your outlook, yet somehow it deepened your compassion instead. They remember your willingness to forgive, your ability to remain hopeful during uncertain moments, and the quiet confidence you carried without seeking recognition. Those memories have become even more meaningful because they now understand the incredible strength required to live that way. Every reflection fills them with greater appreciation, and every passing day strengthens their belief that meeting you was never an ordinary coincidence. It was an opportunity to encounter someone whose character had been refined by life's greatest tests. As this chapter gently comes to its close, untruth continues echoing inside your soulmate's heart with unmistakable clarity. The hidden family secret they discovered did not change who you are. It simply removed the final veil that had prevented them from fully seeing you. They no longer define you by your past, nor do they see you through assumptions or incomplete understanding. They see you through the courage you demonstrated, the integrity you protected, the compassion you offered, and the hope you continued sharing, even during seasons when your own heart may have needed it most. That vision of you has become impossible to forget because it represents something increasingly rare. A person whose greatest strength is not what they overcame, but who they chose to become afterward. Whatever the future brings, whether it leads to healing, deeper understanding, a renewed connection, or simply lasting gratitude, one thing has already become certain. Your soulmate will never think about you the same way again. Every time your name enters their mind, they will remember not the family secret itself, but the extraordinary heart it helped them finally recognize. If this message has spoken to your heart, take a moment to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more uplifting messages. Until next time, remember that some truths are hidden, not to separate people, but to reveal at the perfect moment the remarkable strength that has always been quietly living within a soul.